Payton, head coach of the New Orleans Saints. What's with this Saints happy cast? This has to be the worst Saints podcast in the world. Ralph can't say anyone's name right. Andrew doesn't know football. Everyone has a hard time listening to Dave. And is Kevin even there tonight? The audio with this podcast, my God, the audio, it's painful.
All right, everybody, welcome to Saints Happy Hour Podcast. How'd you like that new video intro on the YouTubes? Boom! $8 cost us. How's everybody doing tonight? We're getting closer to NFL football, maybe, possibly. A lot of Rona news breaking before the show. Dave, what are you drinking tonight?
Here, let me get that. I didn't know you were going to put me on the spot like that. I am having an all-relation job money. It's an IPA. Is it a double IPA or is it just a regular IPA?
That looks like a movie that Nicolas Cage was in.
It's a little IPA, actually, 6.1% ABV by volume. And I'm going to pour one of these out for All Relation, the brewery, because they recently announced that they were going to have to close indefinitely, thanks to
National Treasure, the beer.
Coronavirus. National Treasure, the beer, yeah. Job money.
That was Nick Cage, right?
Yeah. It was Nick Cage. Vitam debitum, it says there, on there.
If you drink the beer, do you enter another dimension?
No, nothing happens at all, unfortunately. You get a little tingly.
Anybody else drinking something as exotic as what Dave is tonight?
And so, Andrew is not.
So I'm drinking Copperhead Rock and Rye from Switchgrass Spirits. It's a distillery in the St. Louis area. It is 80 proof, 40% ABV. It has rock candy in it.
Oh, well, that sounds like something I would like.
It does.
Yeah, it's like it's got like a candy-ish, cinnamony.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Type flavor. It's not.
That's right up Ralph's alley.
It is.
Well, I was about to say it's right up your alley. Like it's not as smooth as like I'm used to with like certain ryes that I drink, but it's does the job. So.
Well, I think Dave's about to rip on me for my choice of beers, but Ralph, I can always count on you to one-up me in terms of terrible tastes. You look like you've got a Bud Light.
Wow, you got to be good.
Yeah.
First of all, that's an abomination.
So, Dave, would you like to retract your insults now that you've seen what Ralph is sporting?
First of all, Ralph, that's an abomination because it's a Budweiser product. I'm a Coors Miller Abita family, so I've got to support Coors Miller, and so at least Andrew's got that going for him. But yeah, Bud Light Lime, Jesus, you're like a 16-year-old girl who's like going out to party, who snuck out of the house, and they got some adult to go try and buy them beer, and he got them Bud Light Lime. You're muted, Ralph. You're idiot.
Muted, Ralph.
I feel like the candy that Dave eats, Ralph just takes that in liquid form, in beer form.
That's what I'm saying. He was talking about He was talking about going to Buc-ee's. He goes to Buc-ee's twice a week, and he gets the 64-ounce. And as if that wasn't enough sugar, he's squirting more flavored syrup into it. I mean, like, come on,
Ralph, you're muted.
Yeah, no, you do 64 ounces at Buc-ee's, and you do 3 pumps of cherry syrup. And
I know. Well, you're drinking way more sugar than I'm eating candy in a week.
Well,
for sure.
I do it because, God rest in peace, Wilford Brimley. I'm not going to get the diabetes. God already made me crippled. He's not going to give me the diabetes. I can drink as much sugar as I want.
Famous last word.
So I'm drinking the Boot Abita. I got a 6-pack for my in-laws, and so I've been slowly working on those this week. They're pretty tasty, light. Yeah. Enjoyable, refreshing, good on a hot summer day.
So that can transition us into because I have a filthy, disgusting habit of drinking like 130 ounces of soda a week from Buc-ee's. That's kind of disgusting. We can transition into another kind of disgusting habit that Drew Brees apparently has said he's given up, and that's licking his fingers. He came in this week. He's like, I gave it up, and it just proves to me that if you need to give up anything in your life, you can do it. Do we think this will last? I think it'll last till like the middle of the second quarter of the opening game. He's going to be back to licking his fingers. I don't believe this for one solitary second, Kevin, that he's broken this habit of licking his fingers.
Yeah, I think he'll do it in the second quarter, and then he'll have somebody chastise him for it, and then he'll stop again. It'll be a work in progress. I definitely think he'll get caught on camera a couple of times doing it.
Look, picture this. Week 1, Tom Brady versus Drew Brees. He's already down 7-0. He starts to lock in. Couple first downs to Michael Thomas, maybe a holding call. All of a sudden, you're looking at 3rd and 7. He hits Kamara out of the backfield for a big first down. Things are really starting to cook. He ties the game at 7. We're entering the second quarter. It's coming. You know he's going to lick his fingers. That scenario does not play out without Drew Brees going back to the shoulder tick, the finger licks. I mean, it's.
Are we going to have a lick?
There's no way around
Yeah,
it.
it's not like a nervous tick, but it's like a compulsion, and he's got it, and he does it without even thinking. I'm sure of it. He's not thinking every time he licks his hands, or like you said, he's got that shoulder. You know, he likes to do that. You know, he likes to, shimmy around in his shoulder pads there for a second. And I mean, that's totally human. But those little idiosyncrasies are very, very difficult to break.
Kevin.
I mean, I was reading an article about because this is a thing in Major League Baseball too. I mean, because players or pitchers, they do crazy shit with their saliva and their spit and whatever within the rules. I mean, if he's genuinely concerned about his fingers being moist or whatever in his grip on the football, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out there with like some kind of like wet towel or whatever, where he can at least damp his fingertips on the towel to sort of give him the same feeling or on the ball without having to lick his fingers. So I would say keep an eye out for that. I could see that happening.
Kevin, this might be my worst idea ever or my greatest. Do we need to create the Drew Brees liquor ticker for the podcast?
Yes.
Count them off like dings every time he licks his fingers.
Yeah.
Yes. We can take bets. Well, it'll be for charity. People will bet. They can Venmo or whatever, bet money on what the season final total will be. And it'll be like a 50-50. The winner gets half and the other half goes to charity.
Well, I love it personally because it's another opportunity to criticize Drew Brees, since we do that no matter what he does. So it sounds great.
It is. And here's the thing. I would set the licking of the fingers I would say at least 7 a week. So you're looking at 16 games. You're looking at 120 licks of fingers.
You got to take into account though. Are they going to play 16 games?
Yes, it's dicey.
And I mean, this has to be caught on camera. You think they're going to catch him doing it 7 times a week on camera? That seems a little high.
No,
I say maybe 2, 3 a game.
They're gonna have a camera specifically on Drew Brees the entire game to catch the licks and chart them. Believe it.
Here's the real question: if he kicks the habit, let's say he doesn't do it at all, okay? But then the vaccine comes out, and it feels safe you don't have to socially distance anymore. I mean, it's probably not happening during the season, but if it did, would he go straight back to it?
Straight back,
like nothing ever happened, right?
Kevin, he goes straight back. He's an addict. He'll get the vaccine, then lick his lips to celebrate, right? Like he's totally off the wagon.
Right.
Well, what if he doesn't get the vaccine? What if he doesn't lick his fingers and he has a terrible season?
Ooh.
Do we blame it on not licking his fingers?
See, Nick Underhill could do like a 5,000 word article midway through the season of Drew Brees pre and post licking, which is weird. Best word choice, but we could would that
It
be
was
like
a perfectly fine word choice?
all the fans, Andrew, would be like, Drew, you got to go back to licking your fingers. You're only completing like 58% of your passes. You got 10 touchdowns, 8 picks. You got it.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I think if the Saints start 0-2, then it's like, look, forget being sanitary. Forget trying to stop the spread. We got to win.
Tell
games, man.
Dr.
Gotta go back
Fauci to go get fucked. We
Yeah.
got to win a Super Bowl. Hygiene is out the window. Lombardi over hygiene every single time.
By the way, we saw how Fauci threw a baseball. How do you think
Woo!
Fauci would throw a football?
Oh my God.
Ooh.
He's
I
less.
Get him that Dr. Pepper challenge.
He's less athletic than me, and I can barely walk.
I don't think there's enough moisture in the world for him to grip a football properly.
Here's a question, Kevin. I feel like when we do this podcast in 2050, we'll still be talking about Bountygate, and we'll still be talking about Drew Brees, whether he's kneeling or not kneeling for the anthem at whatever retirement home he's in. Dude, it's never fucking going away. I don't know what else to say about it, but Drew Brees was like, I'm for Black Lives Matter. I'm donating the money. I'm doing everything. My teammates understand that I'm with them 100%. I'm doing all these things, but I'm still going to stand for the anthem because of family and all that. And I was just like, it's never going to end. Like, it's never going to end. I just want that topic to go away. And now it's like, we're still talking about it. Because he's going to stand.
It's not going to go away. We're still in a bad time. So it's not going to go away until there's sort of a noticeable market change in take your pick. I mean, society, I guess.
But I mean, like, isn't it now though? It's sort of like
whatever.
It's not a protest though. It's sort of, I feel like it's transitioned from when Colin Kaepernick did it. It was a real protest, Andrew, and he put his career on the line and he kind of got blackballed out the league. But now I feel like everybody does it, and when you stand, it's more like a demonstration than a protest, right? And I don't even know what to say anymore. I guess my only question is are we and to Kevin's point, like, they're not talking about important things. We're just talking about standing, kneeling. Like, are we just going to talk about this forever, and we're just going to have a little chart, and we're just going to mark off who stands and who kneels, and we're going to judge them on that? I'm just like, I feel like
I hope not. I haven't heard anyone say that they demand that Drew Brees kneel. I don't think anyone is offended or cares that he stands. I think it's more just the vitriol that he was throwing at people that don't stand, that he was saying, I don't respect you if you don't stand. I don't respect that. I'm always going to stand. I don't think anyone cares that Drew Brees stands. I think everyone's fine with that. I mean, I think it would be different if the whole team was kneeling except for Drew Brees. I mean, that would probably send a statement. But if you've got half the team standing, half the team kneeling, I don't know, man.
That's a good question, though. I mean,
Brees,
it might only be like 5 or 6 dudes. I mean, for baseball, all the baseball players were kneeling, and then have like one dude standing up. Like, it could get awkward.
I noticed that. I noticed. Yeah, I hear you. But ultimately, I think it's. I don't think you have to be a spokesperson for Black Lives Matter in that manner. I don't think you have to do it that way. There are other ways you can do it, and if the anthem is important to you, and for whatever reason, military, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and if you feel like it's important to stand to respect something, then you can do that, and you can honor Black Lives Matter in a different way.
Okay.
And I don't feel like people should have a problem with that if Brees wants to go that route.
Okay, Fredo brought up a really important topic in the chat room. More important than Black Lives Matters, more important than the Rona, more important than pretty much anything going on in the world right now. Somebody made a Saints Twitter list, the best follows. And none of us were on it, not the podcast. And Andrew, you had thoughts on that. I was greatly.
Hold on.
What bracket are we going to be doing in 2050, in the off season of 2050? That's what I wanted to know. You said fast forward to 2050, and when we're doing this podcast, what are we going to be talking about? I want to know what bracket we're going to be doing in the off season of the 2050 season.
Favorite Robot Saints players from 2030 on. Favorite Robot Saints players. Like, Robot Jason David is going to be fucking amazing.
will Taysom Hill retire this season?
No, he's gonna be young forever.
Twitter is gonna be extinct for like 15 years, and we're still gonna be talking about Saints Twitter.
All right, so top 10 Twitter Saints followers. So who was in the top 10? Obviously,
Not us.
It wasn't us. First of all, you say us. I was not expecting to be making the top 10 greatest Saints. Not me personally. Maybe the podcast, yes.
The podcast, yes. That's what I'm talking about.
But me personally.
I got a couple shout outs personally.
By the way, it's at Tulane Shop. Yeah, Andrew, I got a couple. I could see you, and I could see Ralph, maybe being included there.
But, I think Ralph, you had one or two, didn't you?
Well, so who was top 10? So who was number 1? The Saints?
Well, every list was different.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Well, it was like a trending thing, like everybody got to make their own top 10. Oh,
yes, but it wasn't like Drew Brees, Saints, Cam Newton. It was like, Cam Jordan. But it was like reporters or bloggers or podcasters.
Right. That's why Saints said Moose denied, and
I actually didn't see Moose denied up there at all.
Ralph no, he wasn't on there, and I was like, he's number 1. Everybody else is number 2. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Yeah.
I was offended. I think our podcast should have been in the top 10, whatever. I mean, I know they don't view me as a journalist or whatever. Like, I get that. Like, people, they shun me. I'm like a leper. I'm like a crippled leper. I understand that with the Saints media. I don't expect my little Twitter account to be on there. But I expected the podcast to be on there. That's what I'm saying.
I guess people don't like us, man.
No, you got to keep on hustling, Ralph. Keep on hustling. You got to use this as motivation.
Speaking of hustling, you should become a $10 patron so you can get the booze bundle. You can get all the fun stuff. And by the way, thanks to Johnny and Josh and Isabel, who are new signups, Johnny and Josh are new signups. Isabel upgraded. We're gonna try to give a shout out to every single $10 patron on the podcast over the next 4 or 5 weeks. But we just wanted to thank them for doing that. You should sign up. And by the way, just to let you know,
my wife
shipped all the boxes. They go out Monday, and somebody is getting a lucky Brian Hansen 1987 vintage Saints card.
Nice. By the way, this is exactly why I won't be doing a top 10 list on Twitter, because it's gonna hurt somebody's feelings.
Aw, you guys are hurt. You guys are like genuinely.
I am genuinely hurt.
Wow.
Well, we're talking about. I'm just saying.
Dave.
That's so sad.
We should have been number 9 on one list.
Number 9. Number
I didn't
9.
even get an honorable
If there was a top 11, we definitely would have been on 3 or 4.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
So here's my question.
Oh,
Drew Brees clearly feels like he needs to give up licking his fingers to defeat the Rona and help the Saints win another Lombardi trophy. So I'm going to go around the horn. I'm going to start with you, Kevin. What would you be willing to give up in 2020 for the Saints to win a Lombardi trophy?
Oh, man.
Kevin, just say sex. You've pretty much given that up already anyway. So it's
I was gonna say, just give up the podcast. You're already halfway there.
Right.
That's not
I mean,
true.
that's halfway. Like, I'm in less than half of those. Haven't had sex in
ages, at least a year.
No. It's been less than a year. Less than a year. I know that for a fact. Like,
you've had it more recently than me, then.
9 months probably. Working on that still. So, yeah, I don't know. Fuck. Can we just lump those together?
Well, 9 months ago, that means you should be expecting a phone call. You could be getting a phone call soon.
Yeah. Not happening.
That is fucking stupid. Wake up.
Ralph,
So,
you needed the office-based conjugal visit sound clip right there.
Yeah, I don't have
That's
it.
right. Anyway, so what was the question?
What would you give up? What would you give up
what is
to
he giving up,
guarantee the
Kevin?
Saints winning the Super Bowl? Because Drew Brees is giving up licking his fingers. So what would you give up?
I'll steal Fredo's suggestion. I'll give up IPAs.
Oh, that's lame. You don't even drink IPAs.
Because he's a
I
decent
also
human
haven't
being.
had sex, and I'm apparently giving that up. So, Christ.
Andrew, what would you give up?
For a Super Bowl?
For a Super Bowl.
Jesus, I'd give up a lot. There are a lot of things I would give up.
All right, start listing them.
If you promised me a Super Bowl and I just had to quit drinking through February, I would do it.
Oh, could you give up dominating 50-year-old women on the tennis court, though?
See, I feel like I need that more than ever during the coronavirus. So I don't think I could do that. I don't know.
I'll tell you what I give up after watching I could give up Pelicans basketball. My God. They need to get out of the NBA bubble because clearly they are infecting it.
I still have Ralph's Zion voicemail in my inbox. It's the only voicemail that I've saved in my. Yes, that one. So yeah. I would delete that if you promised me a Super Bowl.
I mean, you can make an offer. I want another Super Bowl so bad. And Kevin, the more I think about it, not only do I want another Super Bowl, I think I want this Super Bowl for the Saints. I want them to win this year more than any other year because I know it's going to get weird and I know other fans are going to hate it and call it tainted and call it not legitimate, and that's going to make it more like that would make it more enjoyable to me. Like if you told me the Saints could win a Super Bowl but they're only going to play 8 games and they're going to be undefeated, like I would love that shit. I would lord that over the Dolphins and Atlanta fans forever. Like, I want them to win, but I also want the season to get weird.
Is that a question to me, or
yeah, like
no?
I mean, but like,
no
do you feel like how weird does the seat? Is there any version of the Saints winning a Lombardi that you'd be like, that's kind of weird and it's not as enjoyable as I thought? Like, is there any scenario?
No. No. I don't care if it's a fucking 6-game division-only season and they somehow put 12 teams on each side in the fucking playoffs. I don't care.
I think it's I prefer that.
Championship. If you win a championship, it's a championship.
No, it's like what Bomani Jones said on our podcast. It was when the Saints lost to the Rams, and he said, "You guys don't get it. I fully admit that you guys got robbed and that the call was horrible. I prefer that it happened that way because he used to be a Falcons fan, but he still hates the Saints. And he's like, I feel like the fact that it was that awful for you guys made it better for me as a Saints hater. So I kind of feel that way as a Saints fan. Like if it infuriates other fan bases because they only played 6 games and the playoffs were BS and whatever, like that's awesome. I want that to happen. I'm rooting for that.
How weird do you think it can get, Dave, before the NFL would pull the plug? Like how few amount of games would they be willing to have and still have a season and a playoff and hand somebody a Lombardi?
I don't know. I mean, you got to play at least 8 games in the regular season, I feel
that's the number I was going to say.
And
what's the smallest season they've had, Ralph?
9.
10 games.
The 82 strike season. They did 9.
What number were you holding up there, Kevin?
I really think 6 is as low as they would go.
6.
That's not a lot.
I know. That's just the division games.
The division.
I know.
6 division games. Everybody, the top 2 teams in every division makes the playoffs.
We're playing every 3 weeks, only division games. That would be pretty funny.
It'd be like the World. It'd be like the World Cup, man. It'd be like group play.
You play a game, you quarantine for 2 weeks, and then you go again.
I mean, that's actually not a terrible idea as far as like player safety standpoint.
Yeah.
Look, I'd watch the games, man.
You know, there was.
If you could stagger it, you could have games every weekend
Right.
and stagger it so that way teams are taking off when other teams are playing, yada yada yada.
I feel like something needs to be said here that look, I'm going to take football in whatever form they give it to me in, and my expectations are low just in terms of like it's going to be weird. We don't know what's going to happen, but we need to I don't want to see much complaining on Twitter or just in general on social media about the quality of these games, because I'm resigned to the fact that the refs are probably going to have to let some stuff go because I think the quality of the play is going to be awful.
I was thinking of this, Dave. There is a non-zero chance that the Saints will start a quarterback in a regular season game that is not on their roster. Like, I know you could say, well, that could happen any year, but it's unlikely. But this year, you really could have Rona get in that quarterback room and the Saints having to start somebody that's not on the roster. So this year,
Johnny Manziel.
Oh, stop!
Oh my God.
Who would they bring? Who would? That's a good question, though. Who would they bring back, Andrew? Who do you think would be? Who do you think?
Didn't Johnny Manziel have lunch with Sean Payton like 5 years ago?
Who would be? Who would be the? I think they would try to get McCown.
What's Mark Brunell doing these days?
Chase Daniel. They'll trade
AARP.
They'll trade a 5th round pick for Chase Daniel.
And try to get Tony Romo out of the booth from CBS.
Nobody's getting Romo out of the booth after that contract.
That's true. But you know,
Jay Cutler.
Smoking Jay Cutler. Speaking of
Jay Cutler, didn't he just get? He got divorced.
He got
lost his meal
divorced.
ticket.
He might need monies. You know. But the Saints.
Someone just put in the comments, Garrett Grayson.
Oh, and by the way, Garrett Grayson, rookie card, some lucky patron, it's in their booze bundle box. I won't say the name. It's going to be a surprise for you. You get it. Best $10 you ever spent.
Is that a chef's kiss right there?
Yeah, it was. And Stanley Jean-Baptiste, and Usama Young, and a Jason David. Like, we sent all the Saints legend cards out to people. The Saints did have actual news today, Dave. Did you celebrate when you found out little Jordan Humphrey didn't get cut?
I was pretty excited. I checked the roster this evening. Still there. Still on the roster. My boy.
When are we going to do the UDFA draft?
I don't know. But we need to talk about that because Andrew tweeted. He didn't tweet it. He texted me a picture of freaking Throckmorton's locker is on wheels. And I feel like, Kevin, if your locker's on wheels, that means there's a 90% chance that you're like Milton from Office Space, and they just don't want to tell you that you're fired. So he's way down on my UDFA board because, I mean, Andrew, how many lockers do they have on wheels?
I have no idea. I don't know. Probably. It's the social distancing thing, I'm guessing, more than anything else. But exactly. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was allowed to tweet that or not since he's my coworker's cousin. So I decided to just text it to you guys. But yeah, his locker is on wheels. It's you kind of carted it around the room. But then you've got other lockers that are clearly in place. So I'm guessing it's kind of a low man on the totem pole UDFA situation. But
still take a stapler and everything will be okay.
Yeah, but we need to. You know, I'm done talking about little Jordan and Granderson. You know, they're already in the family now. We need new blood. We need to do this draft.
Adrian McGee was a guy that I was looking at possibly doing, and he got cut today. They also cut Tommy Lee Lewis, which made a lot of Saints fans happy, although it's not Tommy Lee Lewis's fault. He got destroyed in the NFC Championship game. But they also cut, Kevin, possibly my favorite named player on the Saints, Gus Cumberlander, because he sounds like a Civil War general. They released him. And
he sounds like he's the star of a BBC series.
That too. Like he's the next Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And they also cut, Andrew, a guy that me and you did a write-up on for the $10 patrons, and we did an entire podcast on the potential of him making the team. That would be Houston Roughnecks legend Deatrick Nichols. So that was surprising.
Yeah, I thought they'd give him a little bit longer of a look, but he was a UDFA, then an XFL guy, so he was a long shot. Not a huge surprise.
I'm giving you a longer look every day, every day.
Every day I write the book.
So, are we gonna do the UDFA draft today?
Every day
Are we gonna? Well, we can. I guess we got to because
Well,
they got to.
here's my question. So, since Kevin's here and he didn't participate last year, is he like the expansion franchise?
Yeah, he is.
Does he get to leap all of us and get the
Yeah, he
first
does.
pick?
Kevin, you can pick first. Go ahead.
And then Ralph, if you're
I'm not
second,
ready
because
for
you
this.
had a Zigbo.
I'm not ready. I haven't done my research. I didn't
Well,
know this today.
You're gonna have to let it rip, baby.
You're gonna have to
so
let it
Ralph,
rip.
you go second because you had Ozigbo last year and you clearly
Yeah.
failed there because he
I
was
don't-
cut.
wait a
and didn't
minute.
make the team.
I don't even know what my fucking options are.
What am I looking up?
Saints
You
UDFAs.
need to pick a UDFA from the Saints roster.
That's
All
gonna
right.
make the roster.
You can-
Make
And
it 53.
Kevin, so you're first. Ralph, you're second. Dave picked a guy that actually made the team, little Jordan Humphrey. So he finished second, and I won the challenge because I picked Granderson, who not only made the team but had a sack.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I have to find a guy that's still on the team.
Yes.
UDFA, yeah. Tino
would
Ellis.
they-
We won't let you pick a guy that was cut today. Don't worry.
Juwan Johnson, wide
Are
receiver.
they
Since
on the official website? Will they say that they have people that they'll identify him as UDFA?
Yeah.
It'll identify him as a rookie and you
Google
just can't pick a
UDFA,
draft pick.
Kevin. It'll pull up a list. I'm looking at it now.
Just
Okay,
look
hang
at the
on,
Saints team
I'm-
roster and look at all the rookies.
Joe Bashi.
What these assholes?
All right,
Well,
I'm already ready. I'm already ready.
I'm on the Saints official website, man. They got to find a way. Okay, there it is.
You can
Experience.
filter by experience and that'll
Yeah.
show you. Yeah.
Well, they still have Cumberlander on this thing.
Yeah. It's a weekend,
that's
man.
just-
The web guy's not working. You know.
man, Throckmorton. That's such a good name, but I can't. Y'all got me frightened that he's going to be cut.
I think a good pick here, Kevin, would be Blake Gillikin, the punter out of Penn State. Just saying.
This motherfucker looks like he sells insurance. 3 times, yeah.
With Morstead on the roster, I don't think any of us are touching that.
No, three-time insurance salesman of the year. Come on, that haircut says junior senator from Indiana.
It does. It
Get the
really
fuck-
does.
Come on, Mo. Look, I'm sure you're a nice guy. Probably fun to talk to, I guess. But fuck, come on, my man. Oh God. You know what? See, I was about to say a name, but now I can't be sure because I'm looking at the colleges too.
I should.
Okay, there's a guy that went to Notre Dame named Tony Jones Jr.
Ooh, he's going with the running back.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll go with him.
All right.
Tony Jones Jr.
Yeah. God, he's got the
So-
first pick and he wastes it on that guy.
I was gonna go Throckmorton all the way, but now that he's got the rolling locker, it concerns me very, very much. I like the name Tino Ellis. I don't know anything about him. I just like the name. Joe Bashi.
Oh no! Everybody in the chat is saying I should have traded down. Damn it!
You can't.
Ugh.
I'm gonna go.
No.
I was gonna go Joe Bashi because he's got a Sopranos type name, and I thought the Saints had an open spot at linebacker, but they just signed the guy from the Eagles this week, and I I'm not as sold on him. So I got to go back to my original guy, but I'm not feeling good about it. That's Calvin Throckmorton, offensive lineman, Oregon. That's my pick. That's my pick.
You're going Throck.
I'm going Throck.
All right.
I'm going to Throck out with my cock out.
Throcking out. Wait. Rock out with your throck out, I think.
Yeah,
is what
right.
you're supposed to
That's
say.
it. Rock out with your Throck out.
I don't think we're supposed to be doing anything with our cocks.
Well, I'm not, clearly.
Yeah. I mean, how do you say his name? Baki or Bachi?
Bocce.
Yeah, bocce. Like, first of all, I love that because, bocce ball is a Italian pastime. That's a fun game to play. And I mean, really and truly, he may have the best chance. I think he was like the most talented out of all the undrafted free agents. But I'm gonna go with the other guy that I think has a pretty decent chance to actually make the roster. I'm gonna go with Malcolm Roach.
That is idiotic.
I like that pick.
Yeah.
He was on my short list here. He was on my board. He was in my bubble. He was in my cloud.
Well, I had him really high up on my board, and he was the highest player left when it was my turn to pick. So, I had to go with him.
Jason
Would
in
you
the
have
chat
gone
room
with
said if
Throck had he
Bradham
been available?
If Bradham
I'd
pulls a Dan Morgan, Bocce looks like a great pick.
Right, yeah. I probably wouldn't have been able to pass up rocking out with my Throck out if he was still available.
All right. Well, my board, Juwan Johnson, the Oregon receiver, and mostly because they cut Krishan Hogan today, and he's a big physical blocker. So I just feel like Juwan Johnson with the cut of Hogan today has a decent shot. So I'm kind of between him. Bocce is still there. So, like Ralph said, with Nigel Bradham on the team now, I'm less psyched about him, but he can still make it if he's good on special teams. And then you've got the big 6'1" corner, Keith Washington out of West Virginia. So those three are kind of the three I'm juggling.
The nerds love Keith Washington. They love him.
I got to go with the nerds here. I'm going to go with Keith Washington out of West Virginia, 6'1" corner. Welcome to the family, big guy.
All right, that's it. We're all locked in now. We've got a whole year of content.
Sick people. Mentally sick. Sick people. Sick in the head.
I have to say,
my dad's in the chat. Make sure you say hello to your new grandson, Keith Washington.
I have to say, it's not important that I win this year's UDFA draft and my adopted son makes the team. I don't care about that. I just can't have Andrew win back-to-back years because then he'll be fucking insufferable, Dave. Like I can't have it.
That's true. It's very true.
The thing was last year none of us
pompous asshole.
None of us picked Deontay Harris, which we should have.
Yeah. Or Shy Tuttle.
Or Shy Tuttle, yeah.
Yeah, because if one of us had picked Shy Tuttle, it would have been over.
Deception! Matt Ryan! Oh mein Gott! Wie eine Puppe gibt ihn den Stiffer ab und fliegt auf den Boden. Hör doch mal auf.
That would have been game, set, and match on the undrafted free agent contest if somebody had picked Shy Tuttle.
Yeah. But see, Shy Tuttle, it's hard to do this at the beginning because
he's a late bloomer. He was a late bloomer. We got to go all season. We can't decide a winner until the Super Bowl is over.
Well, now it's going to be extra hard, Andrew, because we don't even have games. Like at least last year, we were like after like one or two games, you're like, oh yeah, Deontay Harris should have drafted him. This year, you don't even have games, and we won't even have Twitter footage of fans because you can't go to the practices. So we won't have fucking no clue. All we're gonna get is the only pipeline we'll have is like people that you trust that are at practice, I guess, like Underhill or whoever. But it's gonna be the wild west for UDFAs. We're gonna have no idea.
Right
what's
now,
going on.
the Saints cut down to 81, as far as I know. So right now they still have to make one more cut to get down to 80. So all four of us are kind of exposed right now.
Yeah, we should have. Somebody in the chat room made a good point. We should have had Nick Underhill as our guest celebrity UDFA draft expert, a la Mel Kiper, and he could have broken. He could have broken
Nick.
down all the
Nick
picks
was
for us.
all in on Maurice Harris, who got cut today. So Nick can be wrong. I don't think Nick would have guessed Shy Tuttle as Player of the Year last. You
No.
never know. Probably would have.
No.
He did see Willie Snead coming up 10 miles away.
He did. That's why we always trust Nick, because he's like he built the Willie Snead bandwagon from scratch. So Kevin, Andrew, you did a really interesting, bizarre thing. You went and looked at the all-time Saints roster of players, and you looked at who had the name Ralph, Andrew, Dave, or Kevin, and you found the worst ones with all our names, and you came to a definitive conclusion of which of our names is the worst crop of Saints players.
Well, Ralph, the Saints started their Kevin history by drafting Kevin Hardy, and you know more about this as a Saints historian than I do. Let's start there.
Here's what happened. In the 60s, the NFL didn't have free agency, and even when players were out in 68, even when a player their contract was up, another team, they weren't supposed to sign them. It was understood that you don't do that. And the Saints went and signed a San Francisco player, and the NFL commissioner was like, Saints, what the fuck you doing? You don't sign free agents. Your first round pick from 68, San Francisco gets him. That's your penalty. And so he never played it down for the Saints. They picked him, and then NFL took him away and sent him to San Francisco.
Yeah, so he's one of the worst picks in Saints history in the first round because he never played for him. And this started a downward spiral, which was 12 Kevins, all of them awful.
The curse of Kevin.
The curse of Kevin. And Kevin changed his name to Sean Orleans. That's his wrestler name now. He tried to break this curse. But we have
that
yet
didn't
to
work
see.
either.
No, we've yet to see a Kevin do anything on the field for the Saints. So I'm going to name these. So we mentioned Kevin Hardy. He was kind of the genesis of this. And since then, we've had 11 others come to the Saints roster and fail in their attempts. We've got Kevin Haverdink, the offensive lineman, terrible. Kevin Mathis, who was burned every time they threw the ball at him. We have Kevin Hauser, who was probably the best one of the bunch, but there was that whole stealing Drew Brees' money. Yeah, stealing Sean Payton's money and promising tax credits that never came. Kevin Casefaharn, you guys remember that guy?
Ooh, he was fucking atrocious. And
he had an interception or two.
I was so excited when they got him from Cincinnati too. I was
he had an interception for every 12 pass interferences
and
my 20
God.
missed tackles. You'll remember in the late 90s, there were the two Mitchell linebackers. One of them was good. One of them was very bad. It was Keith Mitchell and Kevin Mitchell.
Whew.
I'll let you guys guess who the very bad one was. And then after that, it's a bunch of Kevins. Well, Kevin Reddick, remember that linebacker?
No idea. Was he a Hazlitt linebacker?
No, he was with Peyton. Kevin Reddick. He was terrible.
No idea.
And then a bunch of guys I've never heard of that never amounted to anything. We've got Kevin Gray, Kevin Hunt, Kevin Ingram, and Kevin Young.
Kevin Young could come to my door in his jersey, and I wouldn't know who the fuck he was.
Yeah, it's a bleak history.
I mean,
now Andrew, you've got Andrew Glover, the tight end. He caught a pass in the playoff game against the Rams. He caught 5 touchdowns that year.
Do they even have any players named Ralph on the Saints ever?
There were 2 Ralphs.
Oh yeah. I like
including an offensive lineman, Ralph Williams, who started in 2 seasons, I think 20 games. So he started 20 games at guard for the Saints.
Yeah.
Ralph, that's your biological name? Like that's your
Yes.
full name on your birth certificate?
Ralph Lane Marlborough.
And then, obviously they've got tons of Daves. So you got Dave Witzel, Dave Waymer, you got Jason David, if you want to use him.
And by the way, Dave, who the fuck would decide to go by the name Ralph? Like if my name was Robert, like why would I be like, yeah, I want to go by Ralph, like the oldest sounding old-time name that ever was.
I've always wondered that about people named Dick. Like your name's Richard. Who decides to go with Dick? Who says, yeah, I want to be called Dick for the rest of my life?
I think that gets put on you, like you don't like decide it. People just start calling you
Isn't it
Dick.
like a second Richard or something?
Yeah.
Oh, is that how that works? If you're if you're Richard the Second, you're Dick?
I don't know. I might have just made that up. But yeah, I mean, remember the Vanderlons saying, "Imagine being named Ralph"?
Yeah.
And savaging him.
Yeah. They still owe me, but he got cut, so I don't have to worry about his sister.
No, he did not. He did not get cut. He opted out.
Oh, he opted out. Yeah, so I don't have to worry about his sister coming for me.
I'm already losing track. This is going to be impossible to keep track of the season. Between people opting out, getting coronavirus, being injured, getting cut.
Somehow the Saints have no dudes with the Rona. Not a one.
Here's the thing. Here's something for the chat room. What should be our Rona breaking news sounder that we use? Because a Saints player or staff or coach, somebody's going to get the Rona. What should be our Saints Rona sound effect? And we can't just use the regular breaking news sound effect because that's not good enough. We need a special Rona breaking news sound effect. What should it be? People in the chat room, do your thing. So is that it? So I mean, so Andrew,
the Kevin curse continues.
I mean, Kevin, they just need, like, you just want a warm body to be named Kevin at this point, or somebody that doesn't swindle the coach and the quarterback out of money.
Right. I would prefer just a guy who just sits on the bench most of the game, comes out for punts, and never doesn't even get near the ball. He's just a guy who's like, he's off to the side, shoving a guy, whatever, getting handsy with somebody else on the other team. That's it.
But that's not gonna. That's just gonna continue the.
That's not gonna break the curse, man.
Yeah, that's gonna just continue the line of mediocrity of all the Kevins that have ever played for the Saints. You need somebody who's gonna go out there and totally change the game. Yeah, change the game for all Kevins moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, no. Here's the thing. We can get somebody that does that. But then, because other people are either getting the Rona or need to get quarantined or get cut or opt out, that person gets put in as like the third string safety or corner and ends up getting like 2 interceptions in a single game and completely over delivers on expectation. And then that vaults them to the top of the rest of the Kevins.
I've got a better idea. We get Taysom Hill to legally change his name to Kevin Hill, and problem solved.
Or
That's too similar to my name.
Or he gets ruined.
No, or we get Lil Jordan Humphrey to change his name to Lil Jordan Kevin, then you're good to go. Or Lil Kevin Humphrey? Lil Kevin Humphrey? Do we like Lil Kevin? Did you ever want a Lil Kevin, Kevin? Did you ever want yourself just a little Kevin?
No.
Not a lot of Kevin, just a little Kevin.
Yeah, no. There's too much Kevin.
Well, who was his UDFA son? Tony Jones? Is that who he picked?
Tony Jones Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, if the Kevin curse is as powerful as I think it is, Tony Jones is probably that guy that's about to get cut to make it 80.
Yeah. So before we get to questions, which we only have a couple, but before we get to questions, I want to tell a quick story that I told on Twitter, but it's amazing, so I want to tell it. So my kid had been needing to go to Taekwondo to get his first belt, his yellow belt or whatever, and he'd been a disaster for like a month and a half, not practicing, not doing anything, and he kept saying, I'll be fine, I don't want to practice. So I'm like, My wife even was like, I'm not going to this.
I'll
'cause
laugh.
my wife, she's like, I'm not going to this because he's just going to fail. He's going to be in tears. He's not going to get the certificate. He's not going to get the trophy. He's not going to break the board. It's going to be terrible. I'm not going to go. So we go.
How old is your son now?
He's 4. So he goes into this
He's
test.
taking Taekwondo at 4?
Yeah. So he's taking the Taekwondo, and because it's social distancing, he goes in, and it's just him and the teacher in the room. And I'm like, this is going to be a disaster. He looks back at me, goes, I got it. He nails the routine, breaks the board, gets the trophy, walks back to me, looks me dead in the face. If I'm lying, I'm dying, and said, Dad, I told you practice is boring. I felt like he turned into the Taekwondo version of Allen Iverson.
We talking about practice.
He's like,
Not a game. We talking about practice.
And honestly, it's
like Michael Jordan. He just turns it up whenever he needs to.
And honestly, it's probably my favorite moment of his entire life so far. Like, I died laughing. I was like, this little arrogant son of a bitch looked me dead in the face and told me practice was boring after 6 weeks of not giving a damn about this routine, and just nailed it.
At 4.
At 4.
Comes from your
So wait,
wife's
so
side, I guess.
What does the routine entail? Did he just have to walk up and like hi-ya?
No, he's got to it's like you gotta like block, punch, side kick, front kick, bow. Like, it's a little routine. Like, it's not, nothing, So, and also the little.
I'm picturing 4-year-olds just doing that shit. That's hilarious.
It is. The thing is, too, though, that he does that I really do not like is he'll say, Dad, I got 2 good hands. I'm like, that's just mean, kid. But it's just mean.
You gotta be kidding me. He does not say that.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Just arrogant to the core. We probably saved the best part.
Holy shit.
We probably saved the best part for the end of the show. Probably should have let off with that story. But, since we didn't have any questions, we only had a couple. We got a couple questions. So now I'll start the take it to the top that Dave loves so much.
Getting candy.
So,
Dave's going jazz hands.
this is from Dale. Dave, should we be concerned that the Saints have 0 positive cases so far?
From who? Dale?
Yeah.
Okay.
No relation to Tony.
I was about to say that. Damn it.
That's her husband, no? Should we be concerned? No, why? You think we're hiding cases?
Yeah, the Saints, man. You know them with the salary cap and bounty gate. Are the Saints up to nefarious shit? Is what he's getting at, I think.
Nah, I think they're all right. I think they've been doing a good job.
Other question. Drew Brees said that he's really excited about the 2 days he worked with Emmanuel Sanders. Andrew, does this make you have higher expectations than you already did for him?
Yeah, I think, look, Brees is all about time to task and tons of reps, and that's how he develops chemistry with his receivers. And so, no, I definitely think him going to Denver was important, and, the fact that they got to work together is a positive sign for Emmanuel Sanders making an impact. And look, I know people are down on Sanders. Who is the media guy that was really down on it? It was your boy, Ralph.
Bill
the guy you always,
Bill Barnwell, yeah.
But no, I think he's huge for this offense. I've said that all along. I really am a big Emmanuel Sanders believer, and I just think his skill set is going to fit perfectly with this offense. And the fact that he's been working with Drew Brees on the side, I think is going to make it even better. So I'm pumped for sure.
Kevin, this might be my favorite tweet of the year from Alexander. He worked in lyrics to the song for this tweet. Assuming there's a season, what will the Saints have to do to take it to the top? Will they go there and will all the things they want to be? What's there to it? Will they sail right through to the top? Will they make it after all? No one falls to the top. Is he right? I don't even know.
Yes. Yeah. The fuck kind of like yeah. You put in that kind of effort on the tweet. Yeah. Whatever you're saying. Sure. You're correct.
Josh Williams says, new patron. He says, I need my crew to Taysom Cup to shove it in Patriots fans' faces like this classic. And he just tweeted. He said it's not a question though. Final question, Dave. Can we get Ralph some better beer for the podcast? That's mean.
Oh my God! I mean, it's pretty hard to go anywhere but up from here. Bud Light Lime. Jesus Christ.
Oh, we can get him a Mike's Hard Lemonade.
I don't know. That might be better. Shit.
That might be better.
Azima might be an improvement for crying out loud. Jesus.
I was gonna say if he starts ripping the claw, that's probably an improvement.
Hell yeah, dude. Get you some claw.
No, truly.
You people are wrong.
Ugh.
So
I've tried. Not good. Give me the claw.
Ralph, were you gonna talk about half the Patriots team opting out?
I was. I totally forgot about that. We'll talk about that, then we'll get out of here. No, I just think, like, something with the Patriots, Andrew, is going on. Like, they have 8 dudes that opted out. Like, something is amiss there. I mean, I have a theory that playing for the Patriots is not fun. Former players have said it. They like, you win, it's great, but they don't really pay you that well, and it's not fun, but you win and you get rings. I think a lot of players for the Patriots are like, I don't want to deal with Bill Belichick's shit and the Rona. Like, it's too stressful. I'm just opting out. Like, that's my theory. Am I wrong?
I mean, I think part of the reason why very few Saints, I mean, no Saints players have opted out except for 2 that probably weren't making the team anyway. And I just think the big reason for that is that they're all committed to trying to win a Super Bowl, and that's the big goal of theirs, and they believe they can do it. So that's why I think the Saints have such buy-in and commitment. And I just think, it's all the things you said, but I think it's also that they've won a bunch. So they're like, man, I've already got all these rings.
Well,
I've already
the
won all
Patriots
these
have won
Super
a
Bowls.
bunch, though.
I don't want to put up with what's that?
Well, the Patriots have won a bunch, too, but I guess they don't have Brady now, so. But they have Cam, right?
Yeah.
But, like, Kevin, here's a question for you. Like, if you had a horrible fucking boss, and I bet you Bill Belichick is a horrible boss. Like, if you had a horrible boss and you had a chance to opt out and not work for a year and not have to deal with that boss, wouldn't you do it?
And get paid?
Yeah, and get paid. Like,
yeah.
Well,
fine.
they're not going
to get paid, but they, like, you know, they could probably survive for a year.
Oh,
they get 150 grand.
Wait a minute,
right?
hang on. No, if I'm not getting paid, then no. It's like I'll put up with the shitty boss. I need my money, and I'm sure. Listen, I'm sure NFL players making the minimum or near the minimum, they probably need the money too.
Well, it's not minimum guys that are opting out for the most part.
No,
but
Vanderlaan.
Well, no, for the Patriots, it's not though. It's like their starting linebacker that made the play in the Super Bowl. I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Hightower.
He started the comeback against Atlanta.
Patrick Chung, the safety.
The starting guard. Like, it's not nobody players. Like, it's
Bolden, the running back. Yeah. I mean, it's good players.
Yeah. So, Dave, do you have a theory on why all the Patriots are abandoning ship? I mean, it's funny.
I mean, I had kind of given it some just quick thought. You could say, well, you always hear about how Belichick has the all the players, the Patriot way, and they're well disciplined and they all fall in line and they all, they all buy into the whole thing, and they all have, they've got a lot of leaders on that team. So maybe these guys they're just all alpha type players. They're all just leaders, and so they're just they're trying to lead by opting out and hoping everybody else is just gonna follow their lead.
Well, I tweeted something and Patriot fans got big mad at me. I said it's a plot by Bill Belichick. He's not asking players to opt out. He's opting in to Trevor Lawrence in 2021. And Patriot fans found that tweet and they got fucking mad at me. Woo! They were mad. I was just like, dude, I'm just joking. Like, come on, people, calm the fuck down. But anyway, so
That's probably the best thing that could happen to them, honestly.
yeah, like, well, unless Cam, yeah, because the thing is, Cam's only going to be there 1 year. They're probably better off going like 2-14, getting Trevor Lawrence and rebuilding. But so, guys, thanks for joining us in the chat. Don't the boxes look lovely? The new boxes. We got the video working pretty good tonight. We got the new graphic going. You should sign up, support the show, $10 level. Get your booze bundle. Get it shipped out to you.
My wife.
We'll get that shipped out to you pronto if you sign up. So, for Dave, for Andrew, for Kevin, I'm Ralph. Until next week, the bar is closed.
R.I.P. Wilford Brimley.